All right, I'm gonna kick us off so we don't get ourselves behind schedule today. Good morning. Welcome everyone to the 2024 Driftless Symposium, Day 2. I'm Sarah Strassman, the Driftless Area Program Manager for Trout Unlimited. And hopefully some of you are return customers from yesterday. We had a fantastic lineup, some really nice talks. I think folks learned a lot. I know I did learn a few nice things, and I'm going to make sure we incorporate those into our upcoming work. So for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, this symposium dates back to 2006, to the start of the Driftless Area Restoration Effort National Fish Habitat Partnership. And it was meant to be a venue to share techniques, lessons learned, research and activities from across the 4 driftless states so that partners and practitioners and agencies could learn from each other and seek opportunities for collaboration. So during yesterday's introduction, we introduced our Driftless Area Restoration Effort National Fish Habitat Partnership and our upcoming renewal through Congress. We also heard about one of the new conservation projects that we're starting this year that's funded through that program, our conservation portfolio, shown here for the Great Lakes. We'll be doing one for the Driftless area this year. For today's introduction, I wanted to introduce and provide an update to our WISE H2O program. So this is another program that is funded by the National Fish Habitat Partnership for Driftless area. And it actually piloted in 2019. It had the big launch year in 2020, which turned out to be COVID, but we persevered in large part to the effort of Kent Johnson from the Kayaptuish chapter to get trainings out there, put things online, do some virtual and some socially distanced training sessions, and got partners signed up to start taking water samples across the driftless area. So this WISE H2O application, it uses your mobile phone and it utilizes test strips similar to those that you would use for a pool to collect screening level data on 5 different parameters: nitrogen, pH, phosphorus, alkalinity, and hardness. And so to take those readings, you dip one of these strips in the water, you place the strip on a calibration card, you use the mobile application to take a photo of that card. It loads the results to a server and ultimately to our database and brings them up on the screen for you so that instantaneously you have outputs on those various parameters before you go fishing or whatever you're up to for that day. And then the collection of results can be displayed on the viewer screen on your phone, but it's also loaded to a database that we have that builds all this data into a usable water quality database that we will be leveraging during our conservation portfolio to help fill in gaps between where agencies' routine assessment data exists. Users will also take manually temperature reading and record that, as well as information about water levels and then any other stressors that may be visible at the site, like cattle accessing the stream, trash, discharge pipes, things of that nature. So it's a quick but robust way for us to get screening level data. And last year, let's move ahead here. Yep. So here it is. So last year, we deployed our seasonal technicians doing barrier inventories with these water quality testing strips. So they were able to take water quality measurements while they were out doing our surveys. And so these areas in kind of the central and south central part of Wisconsin's driftless were covered largely through our technicians in the field. We intend to have them back in the field this summer and we'll again collect data, but we do have some gaps that we are really targeting as priorities for 2024. this summer will be the last field season for data collected through this platform to be able to go into our to this iteration of the conservation portfolio. So we'd really like to be able to fill in these gaps, especially south of the Wisconsin River. This section has not a whole lot of data collected. This, Sauk County, Juneau, Monroe, surprisingly, and Buffalo counties are areas of gaps on the Wisconsin side. And then Minnesota has had a very robust chapter-led monitoring programs, which we applaud and appreciate. And those have covered a lot of the central core of Minnesota's Driftless. And so we'd like to get a few more sampling points out in this western edge, Dodge County, Rice County, as well as getting a few more samples in the Houston County area. And then same for Iowa. We'd really like to be able to get, if you were on yesterday's call, we can use our new geological definitions of this Platteville-Galena area of discharge, as well as this southern tier that was the Silurian escarpment areas. So would really like to fill in some data gaps in these areas as well. So for those of you who are heading out fishing this spring, especially with this ridiculously warm weather that we're having, please grab these samples. A lot of the chapters have sampling kits. You can also get them from me. So please reach out if you have an interest in collecting some of this data for us. This is a big year for us to fill in these gaps. And we've learned a lot from this program so far. Next year's symposium will have a very comprehensive, presentation on these results from WISE H2O, but I just wanted to give a little teaser of some of the results to date for temperature recordings. Again, this is, organized by chapter geographies. It's not necessarily by watersheds here, but if you know your chapters, this is a test for you, where they work. You can see the number of readings inside of folks' geographies, and then, their breakdown of scoring. Thankfully, we're seeing a lot of things in the good condition with good optimal temperature ranges. A few things in the poor and in the bad, high levels of temperature. So approaching those thermal thresholds. But by and large, we've had a lot of readings in these solid areas, including last summer when we had really low flows. So this summer is looking the same. We'd love to get samples during this, higher stress period. And if you're in one of these chapters with ridiculously high reporting numbers, we applaud you. You've been doing a great job using this tool and getting it out onto the landscape and getting us some more data in those trout streams in your area. But it's not too late for those who haven't yet to reach out and get some sampling kits from me.